And so here we go. All right, so this is going to be part J, K, and L. Hopefully the sound is working. And for each of these, we obviously will need a new part, and I load up the screen and we go like this. And all right, so new part, obviously for part J. And I swear it's working. It looks like it's working. Wow, that's not a good sign. And eventually, there we go. All right, so part J, we're going to do it a different way. And the way that we're going to do differently is we're going to use all line tools. We're going to use a line for all aspects of this to make a single closed loop sketch, our 2D sort of shape. That's this shape. And then once that's closed off and fully constrained, we'll just extrude it 3. It'll be a single part file. Excuse me, a single part feature. Obviously, it's a single part file. And the way we're going to do this is with the line tool, which the line tool is different than the rectangle tool, even if you make a rectangle out of lines. And the reason for that is the rectangle tool automatically constrains opposite sides to the same length. It automatically constrains 90 degrees if you make a full rectangle. And you can't undo those things accidentally, which is good. With the line tool, the process is always make the line, dimension the line. Make another line, dimension that line. Because if you know, the way we make the rectangle where, or any of the shapes where we just sort of make it whatever size and then dimension it, if you do that with lines, sometimes they'll flip the wrong way if they're in the wrong size, and it's just guessing the way you want, but it guesses wrong sometimes. The other thing that's different is now you will be punished, figuratively, for clicking and dragging rather than clicking once to start and clicking again to set. So either way, let's start a sketch, and we'll sketch on the front face, which is the XY plane. And we have our grid pop up, and we'll get the line tool. And again, just for fun, we'll snap it to the origin. And let's make our baseline, our line across the bottom, which is 11. Okay, we want an 11-inch line going horizontally with the line tool, and we want to click once to start it, click again to stop it. I'm sure many of you just automatically did the like click and drag because that's how you make a lot of tools, or in a lot of applications, that's the way you make a line, is click and drag. But click and drag in Inventor makes arcs, which is not what we want. We just want a line. So it does have to be the click, move over, click again. And again, it's going to be make a line, dimension it, make a line, dimension it. We need the dimension tool. Click on the bottom here, click to set it, and this one needs to be 11. Click home to zoom out. And we need another line. And the 2 lines that we need to do next, we're working our way around, are vertical ones on each side that are a height of 6. And so we'll go line tool. It has to snap exactly. This is an easy one to miss. You have to get the actual endpoint of the line. If you click sort of like close to it, it might look right, but it won't let you extrude if the shape is not what's called a closed loop. If it's not an enclosed shape, it won't let you extrude. It won't know what to extrude. So first click there. And another thing, you need to make sure it snaps to vertical. Okay, you can see right next to my cursor, that little icon that ends up being right here pops up, and it's telling you that it's going to constrain it to vertical. Okay, it's exactly vertical. If you miss by a little bit, it's not going to work, but you can fix it. You can dimension angles by clicking on the 2 lines that you want in between. You don't need to do that if you just snap it to vertical, but you may need to do that if you miss. It's just a way to fix it. Either way, if you do it correctly, all you need to do is dimension this dimension tool, height of 6, and same thing going the other way, or on the other side, vertically straight up, and dimension the 6. Okay, hopefully you can see where we are going with this. We've worked our way around the outside. Okay, we've got this thing so far. We just need lines that come in from there, a distance of 2. Okay, so far this is easy. L is the keyboard. Wait, hold on. Is it? What is happening? Let's go like this, and we're back here. Okay, yeah. Keyboard shortcut L is straight to the line tool. If you type D, it jumps to the dimension tool. Those are good, useful keyboard uses. So with the line tool, I'm going to click here to start, make sure it snaps to horizontal and whatever length, and then dimension tool, dimension this to 2, then line tool, and dimension this also to 2. Oh, I missed. See that it was not horizontal, and it's not going to work. Dimension tool, dimension, and dimension that to 2. All right, so here is one of the tricky things about sketching, and that is sloped lines. Okay, this line right here, we are not going to go into this and make a horizontal line, or excuse me, a sloped line, and then figure out, we're not going to do Pythagoras and figure out how long this would be. We could. It wouldn't be terribly difficult, but it's certainly not the easiest way. The thing about sloped lines is, as long as you know where they start and where they finish, you know the size and location of that line. It doesn't matter how long it is. If we can get a point here and get this point, acknowledge your sneeze, we can connect them, and we've got it. Okay, we've got this point, which is this point, but we need this point, which is somewhere down here. The way we're going to do this is by making this little trough shape here, just free floating in space, but that means we need to dimension it. And then once we have that, we can just connect. This trough shape has, like everything, size and location. Its size is 1, it's 3, a U shape with 1-inch lines. And that's great, except it's going to be floating in space. We need to make sure that that's its size. Its location is 2 inches from the bottom, or at least the one horizontal line is 2 inches from the bottom. And the vertical sides are 5 from whichever side we choose to dimension. You only need to choose one sided dimension because it'll lock it in place. But we need size and location for this U shape. And once we have that, we can just do our connect and we're good to go. So once again, this U shape is 1 inch all the way around. So let's get a line tool. And somewhere in space here, let's just go vertically, about that big, dimension that. Remember, dimensioning, we want the whole line. We don't want the center point. We just want the line. Make that 1. Get another line. That goes horizontally. Dimension that to 1. And another line. Goes straight up. Dimension that. No. Dimension that to 1, which it already guessed for me. Okay, so like I said, we have our little U shape dimensioned, but it's floating. It's not anywhere in space. And you can see down here, it says 2 dimensions needed. Those are the 2 dimensions we needed to fully constrain this, or that we need. The first one is the distance. Remember, this is a 3-point dimensioning. We want to dimension the distance from the bottom of this line to the bottom of everything. And then, botch that one again. Okay, from the bottom of our U to the bottom of everything is the second click, and the third click in the middle. So it's that 3-click dimensioning. because we're dimensioning the distance between two things, not the distance or not the length of something. And we still need one dimension, and that dimension is the distance from either one of the sides to its nearest side, and that should be 5. Okay, you can see down here it says fully constrained. There are no unconstrained or undimensioned portions. You don't need to dimension this other side because it'll say over dimension. And if you do, it'll put in parentheses. It doesn't break anything, but you don't need it. And the reason why you don't need it is because we know how long the entire line is. The entire thing is 11. The distance from here to here is 5, locked in. And the length of this is 1, locked in, which means the distance between these two portions has to be 5. We don't need it. So there's that. Okay, and once it's fully constrained, if you're using the same color palette as I am, the lines will be black or dark blue, whatever that is. And we need a line tool just to close the loop. And with the line tool, we are just connecting the endpoint here to the endpoint here, and the line should turn blue or black instantly. There we go. And it's fully constrained because we've locked it in to those endpoints that were already constrained. That line is correct. We don't need to dimension the fact that it's 4.243 inches, and I'm guessing that's rounding. It wouldn't be the way to do it. And the same thing here, click here to this endpoint, making sure to get the green snap. The green snap is the endpoint of the line or the exact center point. And by green snap, it's the little sort of ball that is underneath my cursor. And yeah, so it needs to be to this end line. There we go. And there we go. Fully, well, we can right click, escape or okay or whatever. Fully constrained. Our shape looks like this. Finish sketch. You can zoom out by clicking home on your keyboard or the house on your view cube. Extrude. There's only one thing to extrude. It knows what we want to extrude. And the distance we want to extrude is 3 based on the depth of this part. Okay, so that was both more complicated and less complicated in different ways. There we go. There is your part J. Make sure you are saving in a consistent naming protocol. And so either part capital J or part space J. I guess caps doesn't have to be consistent, but the space actually does help because later on, since we aren't making subfolders for the different projects, you are just keeping everything in your documents area. You'll be able to sort by alphabet as well as date, but there's that. Okay, then second one today is going to be part K. Let's start a new part file from our little default part file set. And the strategy, the method, the what have you for part K is going to be like most of the other ones, where we start with a big block, the maximum size in all 3 dimensions, and then cut away what we don't want. One cutaway is going to be sort of this shape, except it has to be on the top. And that rectangle will cut extrude. And then the next one will make this line with what's left over and cut extrude that up. All right. So our first shape is going to be 6 blocks tall or 6 inches tall. And the width is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 tall, 8 wide, 5 deep. Okay, so we'll sketch. We're sketching from the front, so we might as well. Hey, do you know? Go ahead. I just need to know who's coming and going, so go for it. Oh. Where was I? Okay, so we need a rectangle. Again, snap it to origin just for fun. It's not super critical here, but we want it to be 6 tall and 8 wide. And zoom out. And we'll finish sketch, extrude, and we will extrude it a distance of 5. There we go. There's our starting chunk of marble. And let's cut away everything that isn't the sculpture. Okay, so we have 2 more part features required because these are different types of extrusions in different directions. We can't do them at the same time, which is fine. We need to cut out this shape. In order to make this shape, or one way to make this shape, is to make a rectangle on top, the correct size, which would be up here, and then cut extrude it down to make this surface. So we're going to sketch on the top face, and we're going to make a rectangle that is 3 front to back and 6 along the long way. And then we will cut extrude 4. So 3 by 6, cut 4. Sketch on the top face. And I don't know why it always jumps to having top be like rotated 90 degrees. But for me, I think shapes make more sense. They tend to make more sense whenever the word for the face is readable. And like it doesn't really matter. There's no up in space. We are in a 3D world with no reference points other than the words on this. So it's really whatever feels natural to you. But for me, I think the shape more closely aligns with this. And so we need a rectangle. It needs to snap all the way to the bottom right corner, which is really the front top right corner. Anyway, first click there, second click roughly the correct size, and dimension the width of this to 6. And I mean, technically the depth is 3. Finish sketch and extrude. Choose the shape that we made. There are different places where it will let you like choose all of it. I don't know, like that. That's not what you want. If you click on that, you need to hit cancel and do it again. So just take a second before you click. Click there. We don't want to create material. We want to cut material. And the depth we want to cut is 4. Okay. And the last portion is this sloped face right here, which we're going to sketch on this face, which is this face, and make a sloped line that will, with our auto project edges, which if this is an important thing that you will have an issue with if you don't do it. When you make a new sketch, the edges of the face you're working on should become purple. It essentially draws those lines for you. And it is almost always useful, which is why I had you switch to auto project edges, which is what that does. It just makes it a lot easier. And it's also the way I have it. So if you want your steps to look like mine, there you go. So either way, because we are getting auto projected edges, we don't need to draw these lines of the triangle. We're going to get those for free. We just need to draw this one line, which snaps all the way in this bottom corner. And the other snap is somewhere on this top edge. But here's the thing. It's 4 over, and the whole thing is 8, but it's not the center point of this line. It's the center point of the whole shape. But when we go to draw it, we can't click on this line or we can't click on the center point because the center point is 3. The center point of this edge is 3 from the side. And that's not where we want to click. So we're going to start a new sketch on this sort of back wall. And we need a line tool. And the first click, we do know we want it to snap to this bottom right corner, which it is important to know when we are sketching in the middle of a shape, which is what's happening here. There's a thing called slice graphics, where sometimes you need to sketch sort of inside We are just sort of, the sketch plane goes through, but you don't, at this point, you don't need to see inside the shape yet. And we're going to get a line. We do want it to snap to this bottom corner, which you'll get a green dot there because it's the corner of this rectangle, even though it's not the midpoint of this left side. First click is going to be there, and second click is going to be somewhere on this top edge, but not a hard snap. A soft snap to the edge, but not the exact green point. Actually, that is the exact green point, but we're not going to do that. So just make it look roughly correct. And we need to dimension. There's a couple ways we could dimension. As long as it's the same, as long as it's correct, we can dimension. This is the point we have. This is the end point that we're working with. We can make it 2 inches from here. That's fine. Technically, I mean, it's also 4 from the corner, which is back there. We could dimension this to 4. It's the same thing. I think it's easier to read the isometric projections as what's left over, meaning when we're done, this will still be here. This other part won't, and it isn't there now on the shape. So we are just going to dimension the distance from this endpoint. First click, the second click is going to be this point right here. And because it's a dimensioning between 2 different things, it's the 3-click dimension. First click, second click, and then third click up here, and set it to 2. Dimension tool, first click there, second click corner, and third click in between, and set it to 2. And there is that. We're going to finish sketch, extrude. If it doesn't let you choose 2 different places, there's something up with your sketch. I don't see that really being a huge problem, but choose the second part or the part we drew, and again, switch to cut. Cutting of 4 inches is fine. In fact, anything 2 or greater is fine. But again, the pro move is to choose through all and hit OK. And go ahead and save that. You can always do file save. And for those of you who have never seen a floppy disk, that is also the save button, this little one up here. And go ahead again, save it, part K. If you save it as something else, it's easy to fix, but you have to open it and do a save as and name it something else. You can't just go into your files and change the name. It will break it, and there will be lots of heartache. All right, and last one for today is going to be part L. Let's go ahead and start a new part file. And part L is a lot like K, except we are, all the cuts are diagonal, but we are going to start with our maximum dimension in all 3 dimensions. And it's 6 tall on the front or on the left, whichever. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 wide, and its depth is 4. So we're going to go a rectangle 9 by 6 and extruded 4, and then we'll check back in with the shape. So sketching on the front, rectangle and dimension, 6 tall, 9 wide, finish sketch, home to zoom out, and extrude it, what did I say, 4. All right, so we've got this. And the remaining features, part features, one obviously is this thing that's going to cut out this portion over here. We're going to make that shape and cut it back 2. And once we have that, we'll sketch on this face, which will be on the inside there. And when we sketch there, it's going to be a lot like the other part, the last feature from part K, where we draw that and cut extrude that all the way back. So our next part feature is just drawing this line. We need to sketch on the front. And as long as the line snaps to the top edge, but not a green dot, and snaps to the bottom edge, but not the green dots at center or corner. It'll be fine. And then we will just dimension the distance of the endpoints that we want it to be. And then we'll cut it. Okay. So we need a line, like I said, snaps to the top and the bottom. And well, let's just do that in one move. And so let's sketch on the front. We need a line that snaps to the top edge, like I said, but not one of the exact center points, not where it is green, just somewhere on the edge on the top to somewhere on the edge of the bottom. It doesn't matter if you put it over here and snap it. Our dimensioning is going to change it. In sketching, in modeling, dimensioning locks in sizes, but you can also change sizes. It changes and locks it. So we have our line, and we can do right-click OK. Let's take a look at what we want. This needs, the top end needs to be 2 from the left of everything. And this point right here needs to be, I mean, we could dimension it either way. We could dimension it this way to 6, or we could dimension it this way to 3. It's the same point. Either one is fine. I'm just going to do 6 this way because that's what's left over, and I think it's easier to see. So back on the sketch dimension tool, first click, it will do this location here. You can always tell if it's not constrained. Well, first of all, if it's green, but you should be able to grab that endpoint and move it. If it was connected to a center point, it wouldn't let you move it. But either way, we'll dimension the endpoint from here to here. And that's 2. And the same thing down here. We still have the dimension tool. First click, second click, and third click in the middle, and that needs to be 6. Finish sketch. And the depth we want to cut it is 2. We're going to cut out this entire shape that we made. Well, we only drew a line, but because of the auto projected edges, it made the shape for us. We need to extrude, choose this, switch it to cut, and the distance of cut is exactly 2. There we go. We are almost done. One more part feature. And the last part feature, like I said, we're going to sketch on this face. And we are going to make a line that goes this way. Well, that was not very good. From like here to here, which will be this line. And it will auto project this shape, which we can cut all the way across. So where is this line? This line is 3 up from the bottom. And because the entire thing is 6, this side of the line, this endpoint that we start here, when we draw it this way, this endpoint is the exact middle point. Okay, it's exactly 3 from the bottom, which is exactly halfway. So our first click is actually going to be on our center mark green dot. And we won't have to constrain that location. Snapping it does the constraining and dimensioning. And the other dot is going to be, or the other click is going to be somewhere on the top edge, but not snapped to anything formal, anything official. And the location of this, we could do it a couple ways. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this point. So we can do that dimensioning for the endpoints. And then once it's connected, cut, extrude, all of it. And I've already forgot the numbers. Okay, the one on the right is the exact center point, and the one on the top is 5 from this corner that we will get when we sketch. So let's start a sketch. Choose the face we want to sketch on, which is this front-facing one. And our line tool, like I said, first click, we can use the exact center point, which you'll get a green dot. First click, and second click somewhere on the top edge. That looks correct. All right, and just to show you where we're sketching, it looks like this. And if you slice graphics, you can see we're sketching on the middle. Let's dimension. We need to show exactly where this is and the distance from this endpoint of the green line, which turns red like 1 pixel size. First click, second click, you should get a snap here, like in the corner. And actually on this one, since it's sort of crowded, it might be easier to dimension the distance here, like what we're going to cut. And if you look at it closely, if you like extend over, you can see that this distance is 2. The distance from the side of that end is 2, which we can dimension that just as easily. Dimension tool, endpoint, and corner, and that should be 2. Okay, and you can see where we are sketching, what the shape actually is. Let's finish sketch and extrude. Choose our triangle, switch it to cut, through all just because, and hit OK. And there you go. And we'll view. View, arrange. Okay, when I come around to grade things, today I will be doing grading for the first 6, which is A through F. Yeah, A through F. And the easiest way for me to grade them is this way. Okay, so open up A through F. I'll just open up 6 different part files. And 3 more. There we go. Okay, when you have A through F, or rather, once you are done with part L, I can start grading things. And if you open up the 6 different part files, which should be down here, you can go to View, the View tab across the top, and click on Arrange, and it will tile them like that, and I can grade them all. A lot of you, there will be some slight changes that I need. I will help you correct them. So you will get full credit once you correct them. And I'll tell you, one of the most common mistakes will be some sort of like unconsumed sketch, which if you make a sketch, is that live? Let's see. Hold on a second. If you have a sketch, folks, take a look for a second. If you have a part that has extra purple lines on it, then it should. It's because you have what's called an unconsumed sketch. Okay, here in the browser bar, you can see I have extrusion 1, extrusion 2, extrusion 3, and sketch 4. That means I made a sketch and didn't do anything with it. If you make 2 sketches in a row without doing something, even if you like do everything else correctly, like let's say I wanted to extrude this a little bit more, these extra purple lines are this sketch that I didn't do anything with. It is an unconsumed sketch. When you make a sketch, finish sketch, and do an extrusion, the sketches are consumed, it's what it's called, consumed by the part feature. And if you have an extra sketch, well, it doesn't look good, but it also can mess things up. If you're making complicated things, all you need to do is do right click and delete, and there's that. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this video. I will come around and grade the first 6 once you are done with L, which is strange because then you're done with 12. So either way, let me finish this and process it so that you can access it.